Alright, so let's continue with part 2 of our modular building. So let's start modeling the rooftop. Right now you notice that I've made a new collection and I've duplicated the floor. So let's begin. Press Tab to go back to edit mode. Now press 2, select one of those edges and press Alt to make a bridge selection. Now let's go to front view, then E and Z and hold Control to drag it up like this. Now let's go to wireframe mode and press 3 on the keyboard to select faces. Now drag across to select the top faces and then go to separate by selection. Now let's go back to solid view mode by pressing C. Remember that you can change between every single viewport by pressing C. Now select the top face and then let's bake in the mirror modifier. Now press tab again, press 2, select the edges right here and hold Alt to make a bridge selection, and now press F to fill it. Now press E and S, then E and Z to scale it down. Now press Delete, select faces. Now press 2, select one of those edges and hold Alt to make a bridge selection, and then right-click, select Split. Now press F3 and type in Grid Fill. You notice that, as the previous buildings, every single vertex and edge is right now connected. So now that I have the base for the rooftop, let's start modeling the elements that are going to be up top. So first off, let me hide everything. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Now let's add a cylinder first. Let's go to front view, then press Tab, A to select everything. Now G and Z and drag it up so our origin point is underneath our cylinder. Now press Tab again to go back to object mode, and now press N, and let's change the dimensions to be 0.5 by 0.5 by 2 meters high. Actually, let's make that one 0.5 as well. Now press N to hide that menu, press Tab to go back to edit mode, and now let's make one of the elements that is going to be on the rooftop. So now press E and S to scale it out, now E and Z to scale it up, and then S to scale it in like this. Now press E and S to scale it in like this, then E and Z to bring it down. Now let's go to top view. Let's zoom in. Now press E and S again, and now scale it out, E and Z. So now that I have that, I want this object to be smooth. So how can I do that? Well, while in object mode, press right click and select Shade Smooth. But right now you notice that the object doesn't have any hard edges. So how can we add that? So while in Shade Smooth mode, press Tab, now press 3 on the keyboard, and let's add Loop Cuts by Control R, and just click once, don't double click, and drag it down so it's nearly at the edge of the object. Now let's repeat the process for the upper part. So Control R, just click and drag it up like this. Now press 3, select one of these faces, Control R once, just click and drag, and then click again. And again, I'll have to do that for the upper part, like that. Now let's zoom in, press 3 again, select one of these top faces, then Control R to bring it into position, drag it to the left, then Control R, drag it to the other side, and you notice that slowly the object becomes more tightened, so we need to do that for every single one of this edge, like this, and again right here, and right here. For the top one, I'm going to leave it as it is, and now if I press Tab, now it looks more smooth and hard. Now let's continue modeling with additional elements. Let me name this one R01. So this is going to be rooftop element 01. Now let's again add now a cube. Press N to change the dimensions to 0.5 by 0.5 by 0.5. Go to front view, now press Tab to go back to edit mode, and press A to select everything, then G and Z and hold Control to drag it up, like this. So our origin point is underneath our cube. Now press S and X to scale it up like this, Now press 3, select the top face, and select the side face. Now press I and I again, so you can separate them like this. Now select the top face, press E and Z to scale it in, and this one, E and Y to scale it in as well. So we have something that looks like this. Now select the top face, press Ctrl R and double click. Now press 3 again, select the top face, now press I again, and then E and Z to scale it out. So we have something that looks like this. Perfect. So this is our second element. So this is going to be our O2. Let me hide that as well. So now let's start making the antennas. So let's start off by making a cylinder. Press N. Now let's change the dimensions to be 0.1 by 0.1 by 0.1, like this. Let's go to front view. Let's zoom in a little bit. Then tab to go back to edit mode, then G and Z and hold Control to drag it out like this. Perfect. Now press tab again, select the top face. Let's go to front view again, then press G and Z and drag it out somewhere around here. Then E and S, then E and Z to scale it out. Then again, E and S to scale it in. Then E and Z to scale it out. Let's go to front view again, somewhere around here. So that's one of our antennas. And now let's add a UV sphere at the top. Let me go to front view, then scale it in like this. Then G and Z and bring it into position. So now let me scale this one just a little bit and bring it down. Now let's go to the lower face of this cylinder that we've extruded and deleted. And let me hide first the sphere and repeat the process for the top part. In object mode, press right click, shade smooth. And now we have to add the additional elements. So I need to hide that. So press tab, press Ctrl R, add a loop cut right here. Add a loop cut right here. Then press 3. Add a loop cut like this, so it looks more like this. And let's tighten this one a little bit more. Let's repeat the process on the sides. So it looks like this. Now press tab again, press Ctrl R right here, then G and Z to move it down. So it looks like this. Now let's go to the upper part. So Ctrl R, G and Z, drag it up around here. Press 3, double click. Now press 3 again and move this one to the side. Remember to double click once you want to bake it in. For example, if I press, let me repeat the process here. So if I press Ctrl R and double click, now it's baked in, and now if I press S, you'll notice that it looks strange when I try to stretch it. So to fix that, just press Ctrl C and again add a new one. Just click once and drag it into position. So again, like this. Now let's add one right here. Perfect. And let's lastly add one at the top. So now it looks smooth with hard edges. Now let me enable the sphere. And now let's grab everything. Let's join it and rename this one to be our O3. Rename this one our O2. Let me hide this one. Now let's make additional elements. So let's start off with a cube. Change the dimensions to be 0.5 by 0.5 by 0.5. Press tab, let's go to front view, then press A to select everything. Now G and Z and hold Control to drag it up. So the origin point again is underneath our cube. Now press 3, select the top face, press S to scale it in like this. Now press E and Z to scale it out. Let's go in front view. So I'll scale it somewhere around here. Then press S again. So I have this. Now press right click with the top face selected. separate the selection. Now press Tab to go back to object mode and select the lower object, not the top one that we've made, but the lower one. Then press Tab, press A and press 3 to select faces, and then right click, triangulate faces. So you have this. Now go to modifiers and add a wireframe modifier. And now let's increase the thickness of this, like this. So if this one is in position, so it looks like this. Perfect. Now hit apply. Now press Tab again to select this face. Then press E and S to scale it in like this, then E and Z to scale it out. So let's go to front view. Let's move it somewhere around here, so it looks like this. Now press Tab back, and then select this face right here, and then let's add 2 loop cuts like this. And then press S and Z to scale it in, like this. Now press 3, select this face, and now press E and X and extrude it to the side. So let's go to front view. Again, select this face, go to front view, and then press E and X and hold Control to drag it out by 3 units, like that. Now let's repeat the process again. So zoom in, select this lower face, then press Ctrl R. Let's add 2 loop cuts, then S and Z to scale them in like this. Then let's move them down. Press 3, select this face, go to front view, and then E and X, and drag it about 3 units out. Now, you notice that I have overlapping faces, so if I try to delete this one, you'll notice that I have additional face right here, so select those 2 edges and fill them in, like that. Now right here, I have the same problem, so I need to repeat the process. So press 2, select those 2 and fill them in. This one as well, so those 2, fill them in, and on this side as well. So press 2, select those edges and fill them in. So it looks like this. So now let's add another UV sphere. So mesh, select a UV sphere like this. Now let's go to front view, press Tab while selecting the UV sphere. First off, before I do that, let me hide everything else. So select the UV sphere, press Tab, press A to select everything. Now let's go to wireframe mode. So press 3, select half of this sphere, and press delete select faces. So we have something that looks like this. Now press Tab back, and I'll press S and X to scale it in, and then right click Shade Smooth. So we have something that looks like a satellite dish. So let me enable everything back. Let's go to front view, then G and Z to move it up, then G and X, and now let me scale this one down. So G and X. Let's go to left view, and now I have the origin point in the center from this UV sphere, so that would be a good guide to know where to place this object. So around here is best. So now let's duplicate it by pressing Shift D. So select the object, Shift D, then press Escape. Now press G and X to move it down. Now I want to rotate the face of this object to be on that side, so while selecting the object, go to Object, Mirror, and now I know it's on the X-axis, so I'll go Object, Mirror, select X-axis. Now let's move this one into position as well, and I'm going to scale this one down. Now let's go to right view, and again with the origin point, the yellow dot, it will serve as a guide to know where to place this object. Perfect. So now we have 4 elements to the rooftop. Now let's make one more. So let me hide this one. Press N to hide that menu. Now let's add a cylinder again. Now let's change the dimensions to be 0.5 by 0.5 by 0.5. Let's go to front view. Let's zoom in, press Tab, A to select everything, then G and Z to drag it up. So our origin point again is underneath our object. Now press 3, select the top face, press E and S, then E and Z to bring it down. Now E and S again to bring this one up like this, and E and Z again to drag it out. Let's go to front view. Let's drag it out somewhere around here. Now press E and S, then E and Z. And now if I press E and S, and if I want to match the dimensions of the cylinder underneath, I'll have to go to top view. Now let's change to wireframe mode, and you notice the circle is too inside, so I need to scale it back out by pressing S, like this. So let's start off again. So let me go back to wireframe, to solid view mode. So I need to extrude it out like this, then press E and S to scale it in, go to top view, change to wireframe mode and press S to match the scale of the cylinder underneath. Now press E and Z again to have this, and I'll press E and S to scale it in like this, and E and Z out, and there we have it. Now let me shade this one smooth, and if I want to have hard edges, I have to go back to edit mode, so Ctrl R, add one loop cut, drag it in, Ctrl R, drag it in to position. Just click once, remember don't click twice, and click once you're satisfied with the position. So Ctrl R, click once, bring it in, Ctrl R, drag it out, click once. Now I need to repeat the process for these faces inside, like this. Now press tab to see what we have. I need to repeat the process right here. You'll notice that once I add the hard edges, the darker parts disappear, so that's a good sign. So press Ctrl R. Let's drag it up. So G and C to position. Now let's go on the lower part. Press 3. Add one here. Add one here. Now let's add it to the sides, like this, to tighten it. Like this, perfect. Press tab to see what we have, and now that looks good. So now press tab again. Let's add 2 loop cuts like this. Let's go to front view. Now press S and Z to scale them in, like this. Press tab again, and you'll notice that now I have a deformation because I have too many loop cuts here, so I need to tighten this. Like that. So now press tab. Let's select one of these faces. So for example, like these 3, let's go to front view. So these 4, like this. Now press S, Y, and type in 0, so you can flatten those faces. Again, so select the faces that you want to flatten. So press S, Y, and then 0 to flatten them. Now press E and Y to extrude them out, like this. And now let's add, let me extrude again. So E and Y, extrude out. So S, Y, and 0 to flatten them. Now click. So select these faces right here. Then E and Z to extrude them out like this. And now I'll select everything here. So let me go to left view, drag and select, and then right click, separate selection. And let me make this one to be flat, not solid. So I have something that looks like this. So now let me add another element to this. So let's make a new object. So let's say a cylinder, press N. Let's make the dimensions to be 0.2 by 0.2 by 0.2, like this. Now, I don't need to recenter the origin point to be underneath the object, so I need it at the center like this. I'll press G and Y, and G and C. Perfect. Now let me go to top view and center it. Oh, like this. Perfect. Now press tab. Let's add one loop cut at the center. Now press 3. Go to wireframe mode, and let's go to left view. Now select the lower half and delete it. Press tab, Let's add a wireframe, sorry, a mirror modifier on the z-axis like this. Now let's go to solid view mode and object mode first. Let's shade it smooth. Now press tab, select the top face, press G and Z to extrude out, and ENS, then G and Z to make it look like this, then ENS and E and Z to move it in. So it looks like this. So now press tab, let's add the loop cuts. So Control R, click, drag it up, Control R, drag it down, Control R, drag it down, Control R, drag it up. Let's repeat it for this face. So Control R, and now I don't need this face and I don't need the lower face. So let's bake in the mirror modifier, and now we have an additional antenna. So now again, I'll have to add another UV sphere and G and C to move it up top. Let's go to front view. I'll press S to scale it down like this, then G and C to move it back into position, then right click, shade smooth. So now that we know how to model the rooftop elements, let's begin by explaining what does UV does and how you can use it.